Let's take you right out to Hawaii as officials providing an update on those evacuation measures due to those dangerous wildfires on the island of Maui. Of course, this was video from earlier as some evacuations. You can see emergency personnel on hand as they were dealing with this. A lot of acreage under with those fire warnings taking place. Of course, there are also National Guard activated there by the Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke, of course, there as the acting governor. She signed this national emergency proclamation to activate the National Guard, in large part due to the wind just from the Hurricane Dora just south of those islands in the Pacific. Let's listen into these remarks here from officials in Hawaii on these wildfires that continue to burn.
You know, it is really with sadness and just heartache that we are at this press conference. Governor Green and I have been talking very closely throughout the day yesterday as we monitor the situation, and we have spoken to both mayors several times throughout the night, and we have been working with not just the federal delegation, many of the state partners, many of the industry leaders, thanks to Adjutant General Hara and Haima. The point is, a lot of residents in the state of Hawaii, when we are preparing for the hurricane, we expect rain. Sometimes we expect floods. We never anticipated in this state that a hurricane, which did not make impact on our islands, will cause this type of wildfires. Wildfires that wiped out communities, wildfires that wiped out businesses, wildfires that destroyed homes. We are learning and gathering information more and more, and we just feel so sad and just great sympathy and prayers out to the people of Maui, the individuals who are impacted. And Josh and I want to send our deepest gratitude to the mayors, both on Maui and the Big Island, for working so hard. They're both their teams, but at the same time, all of us are working very closely to ensure that the health and safety of our communities and members on all the islands are protected. Today, we signed another emergency proclamation, which will discourage tourists from going to Maui. Even as of this morning, planes were landing on Maui with tourists. This is not a safe place to be. On certain parts of Maui, we have shelters that are overrun. We have resources that are being taxed. We are doing whatever we can, and the state is providing whatever support that we can to give support to both Maui and to the Big Island. Governor Green is cutting his trip short. He is en route. He will be back midnight. He is cutting his trip by a week, and that tells you the magnitude of how grave we think the situation is. And we have been working all night to make sure that this situation is contained. We are thankful to the mayors, and we are grateful to the federal delegation. We have already reached out to FEMA, and they have generously provided support. And so we are just thankful for many support, but at the same time, please reach out to people. Anytime there's a disaster, anytime there's things like this that happen to our community, that shake our community, it's the community and it's our families and it's our people, it's our ohana that help each other. And this is the time we need help. We need to stand together. We need to be brave for each other. But at the same time, it's just with sadness and so we are just struck by the devastation felt in Maui.
Mahalo, Acting Governor Luke. At this time, I'd like to bring up Major General Ken Hara, Adjutant General of the Hawaii State Department of Defense.
Aloha and good morning. So Lieutenant Governor Green appointed me as the overall incident commander for the state for this incident. However, I just wanted to stress that in accordance with Hawaii Revised Statute 127 Alpha, that we are in support of the counties and they are the lead. It was very difficult because of the conditions last night, the high winds and the fire. We really don't have all of the details on exactly how many structures are damaged, but we do know, power is out, they're having problems with water. But I'll let the county share the details of each of the effects by island. We did get support from the active duty military, providing helicopters to Hawaii County. And then I sent 2 helicopters over to Maui to do water bucket fire suppression missions, and an additional guardsman to assist with search and rescue, traffic control, and security. And then we're standing by, as the Lieutenant Governor mentioned, close coordination with FEMA for additional federal resources. Based on the request for our visitors to leave Maui, we worked with the Department of Business, Economic Development, Tourism, and the Hawaii Convention Center. So if there's anyone that's traveling off of Maui to Oahu and was not able to get a hotel room, they can get lodging at the convention center. We don't have any transportation laid out yet. We're working that logistics now, but if you can find your way to the convention center, we can provide you shelter there until you get follow-on transportation out of the state of Hawaii. If you need information on the website, so ready.hawaii.gov, and that's Hawaii spelled out, ready.hawaii.gov is the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency's website that you can get all of the current information, and that'll be the core site for you to get the accurate information. And then the phone number is 808-733-4300. And again, it's 808-733-4300. But we are in coordination working with our airline partners to try to get more flights with the hotels so they can get rooms, so if any of the visitors would like to stay in a hotel as opposed to the convention center, and then as a last resort, the convention center. Thank you.
Mahalo, Major General Hara. At this time, I'd like to turn your attention to the screen electronically. And joining us today is Mayor Richard Bisson with Maui County.
Aloha, kapayaka kako. I would like to first thank the Lieutenant Governor as well as the Adjutant General for arranging this joint press conference. We know there's lots of interest in what's going on in our county, and I'd like to update everyone. As a result of 3 fires that have occurred that are continuing here on our island, we have had 13 evacuations from different neighborhoods and towns. We've had 16 road closures. We've opened 5 shelters, and we've, as a result of that, our west side of our island, Lahaina area was cut off. Only one road was able to be traveled in and out. Power was out to 2,628 vehicles customers. There was no power at our hotels or even at the shelters that we opened out on that side. I'm sad to report that just before coming on this, it was confirmed we've had 6 fatalities that we were able to confirm. And we are still in a search and rescue mode. And so I don't know what will happen to that number. We've had many dwellings, businesses, structures that have been burnt, many of them to the ground, mostly in our Lahaina neighborhoods and our Lahaina area. We've had also, I should have added, multiple school closures. We are grateful to the DOE for allowing us to use their facilities here in Maui County to be able to house folks. We have over 2,100 people in shelters. Within those shelters I mentioned to you, and several that are unaccounted for in the sense that they are in their cars and did not come into the actual shelter. We are grateful, again, for the assets that have been sent over to us by the state. our federal partners, our county partners and allies. We are grateful for the outpouring of assistance. At this time, we are continuing the battle of fire. We now have helicopters that were unable to get up in the air yesterday that are now using water drops to help suppress the fire. That's the latest information from Maui County. Thank you again for allowing us to address you.
Mahalo, Mayor Bisson. At this time, I'd like to turn your attention virtually to Mayor Mitch Roth from Hawaii County.
Aloha. I too would like to thank the Lieutenant Governor as well as the Adjutant General for having this press conference today. Hawaii Island, we had 3 to 5 fires, depending on how you count them. Right now, we are still battling 3 of those. Lalamilo fire is pretty much well contained. The Akunipule fire, we have some containment on there. However, we do still have firefighters out there, and we're still kind of hesitant to say we have it completely under control. The Akunipule Highway is still closed from mile marker 6 to 17. As far as the Mauna Kea Resort area fire, that is still being actively fought right now. I have just got word before going on that they have just opened the Queen Kahumanu Highway that was closed. So we're still going in that area. Still caution people, we're still under a red flag warning. And we see that with winds coming up, it's very possible for flames to get sent out from places where we think we almost have things put out. But right now, firefighters are out there working. We have our shelters open, Isoka Gym, as well as Waimea Community Center. I believe at this time, those shelters are empty. We appreciate all the support that people have given to us. We especially appreciate the teamwork that we've received from our firefighters, federal partners, our military PTA, National Guard, a lot of our private contractors who have been out there, state DLNR for the DOFA, and others who have just reached out to help. We're so thankful for that. But at this time, our thoughts and our prayers are with Maui, and we're not out of the woods yet, but I think the situation in Maui right now should take precedence over us, and we're happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Mahalo, Mayor Roth. At this time, I'd like to bring up Director Ed Sniffen with the Hawaii State Department of Transportation.
Hello, everybody. Absolutely horrific situation that we're trying to work through right now, and really hearts and prayers go out to Maui County. We are strongly discouraging non-essential travel to Maui, but the airports are still operating efficiently. Right now, last night we had 2,000 people staying over at the airport who got stuck either on the, because they couldn't get on the red eye or they were waiting for other flights to come in. We made sure that we processed them through this morning. We're working with our airline partners on all of that. There's another 4,000 visitors that we're expecting will want to leave the island from the west side. So Kahikili Highway is open on the back road to make sure that you can come from Lahaina or the west side into town to get to Kahului. And the Honopilani Highway and the bypass are closed for operational or emergency responders only at this time. There's just a lot of poles down in different areas, fires jumping in different spots, and it's dangerous to utilize that roadway. But Kahikili's open. We expect everybody to use that to get into town, into the airport area. Our airport partners are absolutely amazing. You'll see that they've dropped fares and offered waivers to a lot of travelers to help everybody get off of Maui, to make sure that we can move people over to Oahu or get them back home, whichever they'd like, to ensure that we can start using the resources to recover and focus on the residents of Maui in that area. We'll keep updating on our web pages the accessibility of all of our highways and if any impacts occur at the airports. I would recommend to everybody, anytime we have travel like this that's impacted on one island, it's going to impact others. So before you head down to the airport, if you're going to travel anywhere, before you head down to the airport, make sure you check in with your airlines, check in on the status of your flight to ensure that it's on time. Thank you very much.
Mahalo, Director Sniffen. Finally, I'd like to bring up Director Jimmy Tokioka with the State Department.
You're just listening in to Hawaiian officials provide an update. As they said, 6 people tragically lost their lives during this as they continued to battle these wildfires there due to those high winds and nature of it. Of course, we're going to continue to follow this here on Live Now from Fox. Some of you are going to see, though, a quick 2-minute break.
Station, we can compare it, coming from Kauai to Iniki, but the difference is nobody was prepared for this. You could see the hurricane coming, so I want to ask that as the administration, we're communicating with all of the people involved, from the federal government to the state government to the counties. But to the visitors who are watching this and looking for answers, we're going to ask for your patience because this is a stressful time. None of us were prepared for this, but we're preparing very well for this, and General Hara is at the command, so we have the confidence that he's handled these situations before. In my role, we are preparing the convention center. And early this morning, even prior to the proclamation for support at the convention center, we set it up to potentially accommodate 4,000 people. They're cooking food, their preparations are there, the Red Cross is going over and setting all of that up. But it is a tall task. The city buses will be transporting people from the airport to the convention center, and we are working right now with the airport and the city to accommodate that transportation for the visitors that are coming. But I also want to say it's not only for the visitors. Local people have lost everything. They've lost their house, they've lost their animals, and it's devastating. So we also are reaching out to local people that the shelters on Maui may be full, so you may not have an option, but you do have an option here on Oahu at the convention center. So we wanted to make sure that you knew that. I particularly want to thank at the convention center, Kalani Ka'ana'ana and Daniel Naho'opili and Terry Orton for accommodating this. I don't think Kalani slept yet since we got the calls last night. And we also want to thank Jerry Gibson from the Hotel Association. We will have booths set up there that will tell and inform guests that are coming what the hotel status is, what the rate is, and the hotels that have occupancy. So on behalf of DBED and Hawaii Tourism Authority, once again, it's a sad day, but we thank everyone for the cooperation. Aloha and mahalo.
Mahalo. At this time, we'll open up for live Q&A with the media. And I'm going to repeat the question. I'm inviting Acting Governor Sylvia Luke up, but either she or I will repeat the question so that everybody can understand. So the first question is going to go to star advertiser Dan Nakaso.
Thanks, Makana. Questions for Mayor Bisson.
Okay.
Do you have an estimate of injuries and of the 6 fatalities? Were they drowning or were they fire related?
Before you answer, Mayor, the question is around, do we have an update on fatalities and injuries on Maui County?
And how did the deaths occur? Were they fire related or ocean related, drowning?
Right.
You know, I don't have the specifics for those 6 confirmed fatalities that we have. And that was because I got that number just really literally the minute before we came on to this press conference. We've been trying to get that update. This morning was the first time we were able to assess, obviously during daylight hours, what was happening. And so that's based on that. As far as injuries, we've had a few injuries. Some, I think we sent folks to Straub. I'm trying to think, there were about maybe 6 or so. Not all were burn related, 3 of them were. And we also had a firefighter that suffered smoke inhalation. That firefighter was also treated and I believe transported over to a hospital over on Oahu, but is in stable condition. So we did have some injuries as well.
Follow up, or are you good?
Thanks, Makana. I'm good.
Acting Governor, the next question comes from Chloe with KITV, and if you could just repeat her question.
Okay.
Yes, this is for Mayor Bisson. Do we have an estimate on the number of businesses and homes that have been impacted?
We do not have that. I'm sorry, sorry, you want to repeat the question?
The question is, how many businesses have been impacted?
We don't have that exact number just yet. Again, we're still in the assessment phase this morning now that we have light. So I don't want to take a guess at the number, but it's going to be a high number. Again, power is still out in that part of the island. There were 29 poles, 30 poles that were down, 29 in Lahaina itself. And so we have not yet been able to restore that to get a better idea. And the fire is still going on in Lahaina.
Okay. Our next question comes from Kate Joanne Manolo Morales.
Hi, this is for General Hara and or Mayor Bisson. We're hearing from residents about the fatalities, that there's the possibility of a lot more than that, and also about some people dying in their cars. I don't know if that's been reported to you at all, or is that something you're looking into?
Again, the question is relating to the details of the fatalities and the injuries.
I guess I'll go first, and then General Hara could follow. Again, Manolo, I would say to you that we don't have any confirmation of those. There were lots of people putting things out at social media. We have not yet had a chance to confirm some of that, but we are still in that phase of gathering that information.
Manolo, I have nothing to add to that. I mean, everything is really fluid and dynamic, right? They're doing the search and rescue and assessment as we speak. So we're relying on the counties to provide us the information.
Good, Manolo, or follow up on that?
Good.
Okay. Our next question comes from Chad Blair with Civil Beat.
Thank you. Lieutenant Governor, you said you're in constant contact with the governor. Is he listening in right now, and is he reachable when he's in the air? I assume he is.
He is en route, and he just boarded. He texted me right before he boarded. So it depends on the airlines if they can have text services. But we have been in constant communication throughout the night. We have been in communication with Mayor Bisson's office, and I don't think neither he or myself and many of the team slept. Excuse me.
Sorry, and then I believe McConnell said that the governor is en route, is expected back tonight and going to Maui tomorrow. Where is the governor coming from?
The governor is coming from Boston. He will be landing at midnight. I'm very thankful to the governor for cutting his trip short by a week. That tells you the seriousness of this incident, and we are working very closely, and we've been in constant communication with the entire team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Maui News. What is the extent of the damage in Lahaina? Do we know the number of buildings burned and which neighborhoods were affected?
Okay. Maui News wants to know the extent of the damage of the property and property damage. If Mayor Bisson, if you have a response.
Yeah, it's impossible to know that number right now without having done an assessment. And again, we are still, our main focus right now is to save lives and to preserve lives. Our secondary, of course, is to try to save as much property as possible. And I know the fire department, they work in 24-hour shifts. We had a shift on. Our first fire was at 12 a.m. yesterday. So it's been going on for over 24 hours. So that we have a second shift of firefighters that are on duty now. And what I guess I'm getting at is that because the fires are not out yet, we do not have a number or a total that we can give right now.
Go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things that we have worked on is we have communicated with the White House. We have communicated with FEMA. FEMA will help with the assessment of the damage, and we will be working very closely with the two senators present here.
I want to make sure we give Maui some aloha. They have a number of questions, and so I want to prioritize them. Normally, we are very Oahu-centric in our media, and so one more follow-up with Maui News. Why are cell phones and landlines still down in Lahaina, and is there any idea on when service might be restored?
Okay, the question is why are mobile service and cell service and internet down, and when do we expect the services to be brought on board? Mayor?
As I mentioned, because of the strong winds, 29 of those utility poles are down, and we are trying to restore power. I also understand fiber optics were also devastated in the fires. I can't speak to satellite and how that technology works, but anything that was on the ground that assisted in getting any kind of communication has been burnt or partially burnt or destroyed. So I would say that's the explanation.
And the only way we have been able to communicate with the west side was through satellite service. We are in communication with the various providers to get connection back up.
We've also been using radios and not phones. We've been using radios with our different departments, police department, fire department, and our county departments are all on radios, not cell phones. And we also have some satellite phones that have also been utilized.
Hi, this is General Howard again. So I just wanted to stress again what the mayor had mentioned earlier, right? Right now, the priority is for saving lives, preventing human suffering, and then mitigating great property loss. And then there was the order to evacuate the area. We're going to be working with the communication companies. They have a capability called Cell on Wheels that can provide cellular service. But because the fiber optic cable was damaged and that needs to be assessed, we think that could take over a month to get repaired.
Our next question comes from Mahealani Richardson with Hawaii News Now.
Aloha, Mayor Bisson. This question is for you. We have heard early reports and people who have flown over the Lahaina area that it looks like a bomb went off. Have you seen these reports? What does it look like to you? And what can you say to people who are truly traumatized by this devastation?
So Mahealani is asking that there were reports that it sounded like a bomb went off, and
it looks like a bomb.
It looked like a bomb, and what assurances can we give to the residents?
I think this is a truly devastating experience for everyone that has gone through it. Some people closer than others have witnessed this, which is why we do want to offer mental health services for our community and trauma-related care. I have not yet seen the photos, and that's simply because I have been in meetings and or press conferences like these since I've been in or back in this morning, and I am aware. I was told as to what some of that damage was, or I was told which areas have been burnt to the ground, and I'm very, very familiar with these areas, and so I'm aware, and I agree with you that this is devastating to our community. This is a time for us to come together. This is a time for us to care for each other in our county, and again, accept the generous assistance that is being offered by our federal, our state, and our county and private partners. We will rebuild, and we will again support each other.
Our next question is going to come from Maui News. There are more evacuations happening south of Lahaina Town. Is there a risk the fire could spread to Olowalu and Ma'alaya?
Is there a risk of fire spreading to other parts of the community as we evacuate Lahaina?
Yeah, the last briefing I received was at 7 a.m. this morning, and then there was a meeting at 8, and then we've been on this. So I don't know if the wind has changed direction. But what I will say is we have more assets that are able to bring more water drops to the affected areas. Some of this may be out of precaution. The fire has, in certain locations, jumped the road and gone from Makai to Mauka. And so I think we are trying to be as cautious as possible. But I don't know any other explanations why there are additional evacuations.
You're just listening in here to all of this out of Hawaii as they were providing an update. Certainly the devastation. They're talking about the wind as it's from Hurricane Dora. They're just south of those islands in the Pacific. Some of you are going to see a quick 2-minute break here on Live Now from Fox.
With Honolulu Star advertiser.
Mayor Bisson, do you have any updates on either containment or control of any of the fires?
Yeah, the question is there a update on containment or control of the wildfires?
We, as of this morning, we have not yet contained the Kula fire, which is about 1,100 acres, a rough estimate. I know we've not yet contained that. The Lahaina fire, or the fire in Lahaina, continues to have flare-ups, and that is not yet under control. And then there is also a fire in the Kihei area. Mauka of Pi'ilani Highway near the Pulehu Road, if you're familiar with Maui. And again, that we are continuing to battle that fire.
Our next question comes from Manolo Morales with KHON2.
Hi, this is for Lieutenant Governor and or General Hara. Can you comment at all with resources as far as help from other counties? It sounds like it's sort of an all hands on deck situation.
No, absolutely. One of the things that we did yesterday in cooperation with General Hara, we issued an emergency proclamation. One of the things that the emergency proclamation does is to trigger the major disaster fund. This allows the governor the ability to access funds within state government to deploy. So this is a situation where we are still assessing the damage, whether it's property damage or additional assistance to Maui whether for medical services or other health and safety needs. This is not going to be a short journey. It's going to take weeks and maybe months to assess the food damage, and the state will provide whatever assistance. You can already see that City and County of Honolulu is working with us to provide transportation services from the airport to the convention center. Big Island, in spite of the fact that they are also suffering from wildfires, is opening up its homes to allow for Maui residents to be able to live there, and we are just so. And Kauai has also offered help. So this is basically the entire state coming together to assist our ohana and family on Maui.
And so Lieutenant Governor covered what the counties are providing support, and Hawaii County Mayor offered this morning saying, do you have capacity in their hotels as well? And they welcome visitors that want to stay in their hotels. FEMA is deploying an incident management assistant team, so help us to do our request for federal resources, so that's much appreciated. And I'll share with you what the military is providing. So the active duty 25th Combat Aviation Brigade out of Schofield provided 2 UH-60 Black Hawk helicopters. They have 6,600 gallon water buckets to support with fire suppression. And in addition to that, a CH-47 Chinook, that's a large one with the 2 big rotor blades, that has a 2,000 gallon water bucket. And they have an additional CH-47 on standby here on Oahu. If conditions warrant, they'll be dispatched more than likely to Maui. For Maui, the Hawaii National Guard dispatched 2 CH-47 Chinook helicopters. One landed just after 9 o'clock this morning and is already in coordination with the fire department, and the second one is set to go. In addition to the water bucket support, the second CH-47 is providing a unit called an Enhanced Emergency Response Force Package, and they're specially trained to do search and rescue. That's combination either wide area search and rescue and then confined space urban search and rescue. So a very technical team. So they're being deployed to Maui as well. Thank you.
Again, prioritizing our neighbor island outlets, specifically Maui. Maui Now, what are firefighting resources like in West Maui and upcountry? Do we have enough crews, equipment, and water?
Okay, so the question is, what are the needs of the firefighting crew on Maui, and do they have enough resources?
Well, I can tell you that we did not anticipate having these many fires simultaneously. So we have drawn our assets from every place on the island except for Hana. And they have, as I said, worked in shifts. So we have a new shift on now. I think we have also reached out to other helpers. I know we had DOFA. I think they contributed another 28 personnel yesterday. I know we've had, again, offers from federal, the park rangers here at the Haleakala National Park have offered assistance. And I believe we are also talking with our military and other counties. I don't have a count for you to say that. We've used all of our equipment, including the airport. I should have mentioned the airport firefighters have also offered their personnel and their equipment to us as well. I think a big thing that was hampering us yesterday is because of the high winds, we were not able to get the helicopters in the air. It was not safe for them to do water drops. Apparently, as of this morning, that situation has improved, and so I think that will be, and in addition to the CH-47s that General Hara spoke of which he sent, one has arrived and another's on its way. I think this will give us, will support our ground troops to try to battle these. So that's the best I can give you right now. Updates.
Our next question comes again from Manolo Morales, KHON2.
Somebody was asking us about Kula Hospital, and I don't know if Mayor Bisson can answer this. Has that been evacuated? We have people trying to get a hold of patients there and can't reach them.
Okay. As Kula Hospital been evacuated, people are trying to reach patients at Kula Hospital.
Not to my knowledge. The Kula Hospital is located more in the direction of Ulupalakua, for those of you familiar with Maui. And I think the farthest evacuation we did was somewhere around Kimo Drive, which is quite a distance away from the hospital. So yeah, I'm not aware of any evacuation from Kula Hospital.
Let me just see if Maui Health is on Zoom. Let me see if they are aware.
Yes, Mayor Bisson is correct. We have not evacuated any patients from Kula Hospital. We did lose power, but we have generator power and we have enough diesel for about a week, and the same for water. So right now there's no imminent threat to Kula Hospital.
Let me just follow up on your behalf. The question also is, people are trying to contact patients at Kula Hospital. Are you having difficulties in the connection, and how do people get in touch with patients at Kula Hospital?
We had not heard that there were connection issues related to Kula Hospital, but we do have a call-in number that if they need to reach out to us and they're having a hard time connecting with one of the patients, that they can call the hospital directly and we can connect people. There's also an employee hotline for all of our staff if they have any questions. And I can provide those numbers after the press conference.
Thank you. And it could be a situation where, during a significant portion of the night, 911 services were down, in addition to a significant number of residents and people who are concerned trying to get in touch with their family members. So it may have led to individuals not being able to get through to their destination.
Our final question comes from Xinhua, a news agency. Everyone is interested in helping. What efforts have been made to coordinate churches and charitable entities, and who can they contact?
So everyone is trying to be helpful. I think that's what makes Hawaii really special. Even during the volcano eruption, the community came together and helped. And even our office, we received so many individuals who called and just wanted to help. I think with that, Haima is coordinating a centralized effort. Please contact Haima. If I can invite General Hara up to state the number that you can call.
Yeah, so that's correct. If anyone wants to donate anything or even volunteer support, contact the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency. That was the website I put out earlier. So again, it's ready.hawaii.gov, ready.hawaii.gov, or 808-733-4300. Again, 808-733-4300. Thanks.
General, may I also offer a number for those who are listening to this from Maui in particular?
Sure, Mr. Mayor, go ahead.
So Daryl Takeda, Takeda, is an emergency management specialist that we have assigned as our point of contact on Maui. His phone number is 808-270-7285. 808-270-7285. Daryl will be coordinating any folks who want to volunteer, whether it's food or water, meals, transportation, medical supplies, housing, shelter, anything along those lines. Daryl will make sure that gets to the right person, but he's our overall point of contact on the island of Maui, or the county of Maui. Mahalo.
One more question. Dan Nakaso, Honolulu Star Advertiser.
Mayor Bisson or General Hara, is there any reason to know, or do you know what caused all these fires?
Dan wants to know what the cause was for the fires. I think General Hara can answer that if it's not.
I know from our end, we have not begun the investigation part. We are still in the battling the fire part.
Yeah, so we don't know what actually ignited the fires, but we were made aware in advance from the National Weather Service that we were in a red flag situation. So that's, dry conditions for a long time. So the fuel, the trees and everything was dry. So that was there. Low humidity, and the third one was the high wind. So because of all three conditions, which is still in effect as we speak, that set the conditions for the wildfires.
Thank you.
I welcome final remarks.
Okay. As you can see, a tremendous amount of individuals spent all night, all day yesterday trying to work towards the safety and security of the residents of Maui, residents of the Big Island. We can't thank these people enough for spending so much of their resources and time to care for others. We are hearing more and more tragic news. We are hearing more and more devastation coming out of Maui. This is really a time for us to really put together. That's what Hawaii does best. I think if you can donate your resources, please reach out to both Haima, please reach out to Maui. They need all the help they can get. This is time for us, our prayers. This is time for us to think and keep them in our hearts and prayers. And so just mahalo to everyone. And the media has done a tremendous amount of service by helping us disseminate this information. A lot of the information could not be provided because of lack of connectivity to the west side. And, as you can see, both mayors have spent all night trying to provide services and needed items to the island residents. So as more things get deployed, there are concerns about potential riots. There are concerns about, people not having aloha. This is really time for us to have aloha and patience, and as we work towards this disaster together. So mahalo for being here.
All right, you're just listening in there to several officials on the ground in Hawaii as they're dealing with these wildfires and the wind from the hurricane there just south of the islands. Of course, we did learn the tragic news that at least 6 people have died and still some devastation unaccounted for. So I do want to put up these tweets from the Emergency Management Department there in Hawaii as they say the mayor reports 6 people have died, confirmed as a result of these. 13 areas were evacuated and more than 2,600 customers remain there in Hawaii without power due to these. Of course, more than 2,100 people stayed at 4 shelters in Maui overnight. Firefighters have been able to deploy helicopters Wednesday morning to assist ground forces with fire containment. But certainly the devastation there, the images coming out of this wonderful, beautiful place on this planet, certainly tough to watch as this area on that island dealing with those fires that they continue to battle. They talked about the connectivity problems as 911 was down for quite some time as well on that island. They also talked about the governor of Hawaii, Josh Green, was on the road. That's why you heard a lot from the lieutenant governor there, and he is making a trip back to Hawaii from Boston, expected to land about midnight later on tonight.